All right, hello everybody. I added a package on GitHub earlier today, and I just wanted to share it here. I'll just read the description real quick. It's a plug and play UI implementation for rebindable keyboard and mouse and controller gamepad controls using Unity's input system. The implementation most closely resembles Rocket League's controls/bindings UI. So yeah, if you're familiar with Rocket League, it looks a lot like this when you go into the controls bindings page. I guess it does in a lot of games. Yeah, if you click on, so yeah, I've got it loaded up here. It's a scroll view. And if you click on any of these buttons, you can rebind them. So I just rebind jump to H, rebind dash to K. I can do controller changes too. Let's make this the select button for whatever reason. And you can reset to defaults, and all the changes get saved. So when you close the project, open the project, all those binding changes stay. So all the bindings that are showing up here in the UI are essentially directly grabbed from an input action asset. And it's pretty much as simple as dropping a UI prefab in, and it just knows how to pull everything from the asset accordingly to build the UI. So yeah, if that's something that interests you, then I will be going step by step, starting from an empty project, building some controls in UI using this package. All right, so we're starting here with a completely empty project. First thing we're going to do is import the rebindable input UI package. So if you're not familiar with how to do that, just copy the git clone link, and I'll put the link for the repository in the description, and go to add package from git URL and just hit add. So let it do its thing here. I think you do need git installed to do it this way, actually. If you don't use git or don't have it installed for whatever reason, you can also just download the repository as a zip, and then you can add the package from disk instead of with the git URL. So this is actually, I did import it once before, but when it brings in the input system dependency, usually it'll restart the editor, so don't be surprised if that happens. So yeah, we have our package here now, so you can see it in the packages if you're curious. So first thing, I am going to assume that you guys understand the input system a little bit already. If not, this will be a quick review of that. So I'm just going to create input action asset here. So this is where I can define my controls. So we'll just start with simple ones. Let's do moving, jumping, and let's do sprinting. One thing you will have to do for the package to be happy with this asset is you need to implement two control schemes for keyboard, mouse, and gamepad. I don't know why I couldn't say that word. So mouse, you're gonna have to add the devices, hit save, and we'll add one more, and it does have to be Pascal cased with no space like that. Gamepad. Let's add the gamepad, save, and show all control schemes. Cool. So now we do have to add a binding for each control scheme for every action. So for move, this should be a vector2, mouse, and gamepad. All right. So we've got 3 things hooked up, 3 actions. All of them are on the control schemes. The right control schemes. Okay, we're good. So the next thing we're gonna have to create is the rebinding rebinding manager. So this is part of the package, so you should be able to just bring it in now. And we'll bring in our controls we just made, and we need to get the name of the map so that it knows which map to do rebinding on. So that's all set. Now we can make a canvas. And we can, so now if you go into the package, there's a prefab section here, and we'll bring in these control bindings panel. Just gonna ask you to import TM Pro. Let's see how this looks. 2D. Okay, I think it got busted because it needed to import TextMesh Pro. Yeah, so there's everything. You can rescale this to whatever you want. Yeah, it's not meant to be all squished like that, so you do have to either scale it down a little bit, or what I did was I built the UI at a reference resolution of 2K, so I'll just put it at that. And that's it actually. So let's revert everything here. At that point, you could just hit play. And so here we can see our 3 controls came up in this nice scrollable view. If we click on jump, it's rebinded to, I'll hit J. So it changes the keyboard binding to J. I'll hit X on my Xbox controller, and that changed to an X. Change toggle sprint to tab. That's horrible. And then you can reset defaults as well. So back to normal. So one thing you'll notice is composites are actually not rebindable. I'm probably going to leave it because I don't really see a reason yet for anything I'm working on to make the composite controls be editable, because usually they're just for like movement and camera controls and stuff like that, which is almost always bound to like a permanent set of controls in most games. So yeah, I'll leave that as is. Okay, so there's one more detail here. So in the package, I did also include a sample. So the sample is kind of the same thing we just did, but with a few more input mappings, and then I'll import it. There's also a sample input manager provided. Here it says to demonstrate how to set up your game's input alongside this package. So you've seen the rebinding manager. Let's open the sample scene here. Don't save. So it's the same thing. We've got, so here we've got a slightly more detailed action map. Got the name here, and then we have this sample input manager. So you're gonna have to make your own input manager, because this sample input manager is specifically made just for the sample input action asset sheet. But I thought this was a good example to provide for how you can route the actions from the rebinding manager to places like a player controller or camera controller and whatnot. So basically here we're just like caching each input action explicitly, and then at that point, we can make getters for reading a value from an action, and I've also defined events for when these actions are performed. So yeah, let's just say, for example, you had a player reset player. Let's make a new script. Let's call it player controller. Okay. And let's say that we want to do something when we jump, right? So we'll pull from sample input manager instance dot on jumped. Right, and that's all. We got the action. The sample input manager got the action from the rebinding manager and is now like feeding us an event. So we can make this do the unbinding. Okay, for now, let's just say jumped. Okay, so like, I mean, realistically here you would, do whatever force manipulation you need to do to a rigid body or what, something to jump. So let's hit play. Okay, so it's space to jump. Let's minimize so we can see the console. So yep, I hit space bar. I can also hit A on the Xbox controller, jumped. And let's rebind it. I'll rebind it to J. So yeah, now I'm hitting J, jumping. I hit space bar, no longer jumping. Reset defaults, space bar, and jumping. So yeah, that's like, I thought it was a decent example script to just show how you could set up some input routing for the rest of your project. I think I covered everything. Let me know if I missed anything or if you have any questions. Leave it in the comments and I'll check it out. Otherwise, peace.